Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pro Football Historian channel. I'm your host, Glenn Given. Today, we'll be discussing the Miami Dolphins off-season preview. So, the Dolphins, 10-6 team coming in the season, second-year quarterback. So, you thought, could they be a playoff team? Maybe they exceeded expectations. And the season did not start off too well, other than the Week 1 game, where New England pretty much could end the game. Uh, Harris fumbles the football at the very end, and the Miami Dolphins get it, and then they go down the field and score. Damian Harrison, a crucial fumble late in the game. He had a decent game, but that mistake really cost them, and they drove down the field and just kicked the field goal, I believe, to win the game. And it was a field goal. Actually, sorry, they were in prime position to actually score, and because of the fumble, New England couldn't take the lead. And then Miami ran the clock out, I believe, and that ended week 1 with a victory. They lose 7 straight games, so they play Buffalo, complete blowout. The team Buffalo just outclassed this team. Defensively, I thought they played okay. The points doesn't look like that. They just couldn't keep stopping the Bills' offense. And with Tua injured, I believe he was injured, Brissett couldn't do anything, and kept punting the ball right back to Buffalo. And eventually they put the backups in, but 35-0. Obviously, when you get shut out, a lot of things went wrong. Play the Raiders in overtime, they lose a close game. Now they Jacoby Brissett for most. He didn't do much this game. Threw a lot, but didn't get a lot of yards through the air. And Miami was one of the worst rushing teams, and okay running the ball. And defensively, they did struggle though. And that was just early in the season. Miami's struggling on defense was the real key in them starting off, not great. Plus the injury to Tua. You had the defense not playing up to their expectation. You had the offense. You didn't expect a lot of great offensive play, but you expect at least average, or at least hoping average. And then you give it to them, Miami, early in the year. Play the Colts. Colts get their first victory of the year. Miami, they fought, but wasn't enough. Wentz had a good game. They couldn't stop the run, really. Jonathan Taylor had a great game. And Brissett, he played okay against his former team, but it wasn't enough. And they can't run the ball again. One of the worst offensive lines in the league for Miami. They then played the Buccaneers, Florida teams, but Bucs showed they were the better one. Wasn't really close. But the defense, the pass, even again, they get shredded. And eventually Blaine Gabbert came in. Did against the run okay. Still, it was on the field way too much in games this year. I wouldn't say this is necessarily one of them, but they weren't expected to win that. They didn't. And here's the game. I didn't think they were going to win it because Jacksonville was 0-5. I thought this was a chance for Jacksonville in London to win this game. And ultimately, it was just the mistakes by the Dolphins. Tua came back at a really bad interception. Again, they can't run the ball. Tua's almost their leading rusher in this game. Malcolm Brown ultimately was, but just didn't have a quality running back, and the offensive line was terrible. And you could say that for Jacksonville as well. But this is one of the 2 victories for Jacksonville. And really, then you put a lot of pressure on the coaching staff. You hear about firing and all that. And I didn't believe they should. And eventually, they did turn around. Miami, they then go play Atlanta. It was another close game. Could have went either way. Ultimately, last second field goal, they lose again, just like the prior week against Atlanta. And then Buffalo, they play again. They play a little bit better, but not a lot offensively to show. Tua was struggling again, and no rushing. They just had this was even a great run defense, and they couldn't do anything on the ground against them. Um, I don't know why it's doing that. I'm just gonna have to go through this. But yeah, so they lose 7 straight games. They play the Texans, another bad football team, and they win 17-9. You know, again, Taylor 3 interceptions. He had some really bad interceptions this game. One was to Baker, which was really ugly, and Taylor at least usually kept care of the ball. He didn't do that very well in this game, or even in the season in general. Brissett played. Um, he played a few games actually until eventually just let Tua be the guy. But he had Tua had some injuries. He played through them though. Again, just no rushing run game to speak of. But defensive game, a lot of turnovers in that game. And they play the Ravens. This was an upset, probably best one of the year. Just really control the Ravens when they were decently hot at this point. I mean, they did lose to the Bengals and teams in recent weeks prior to this game, but this is where we're downhill for the Ravens, let alone besides injuries and other things. They did go 8-3, but this blitzing scheme, they kind of got back to what they did the year before, and back and forth with the quarterbacks on offense, but the defense came to play. Really did a lot of great things, and they for the rest of the year played like that for the most part. They played the Jets. Tua, can't remember. No, this is the later Jets game I was thinking of, but this is another game. Could have went either way. They, defensively, both teams did pretty good. The Jets had to start Flacco in this game. And Miami got some ground game going. Wasn't amazing, but they got it going. And just outscored the Jets, getting 24. For Miami, they get 24, you should win a lot of games. Ultimately, they weren't doing that very much early in the year. But then they play the Panthers. They take control of them, take care of business. Panthers obviously were kind of like Miami. They were in the reverse, though. Going downhill, just getting worse and worse throughout the season. Came in and played this game. They started off with a touchdown, but after that, just not a great day for Cam Newton. 2 interceptions. P.J. Walker went in, threw another pick. Tua played okay, and they had the ball a lot and did what they needed to. Defense played great again. Then they play the Giants. Shut down the Giants 20-9. Tua played again, solid game. 2 touchdowns, took care of the ball, and for the Giants, they couldn't do much. Ground game at least was stopped from the Giants' defensive perspective. They stopped the Miami rush game, which most teams did this year. So even in when struggled offensively, they had a late bye, played the Jets. Sorry, I think this was the first Jets game, not second. Yeah. So the second, they get the 7-7. They beat the Jets. Some bad picks, though, through this game to keep the Jets in it. And, even with the good start the Jets had, they didn't do anything in the second half. And kind of like the Eagles game, the Jets didn't do much after that first half. Miami wins it. And they didn't play a Saints team with a lot of players on COVID, a lot of injuries already on the Saints. And they beat them on Monday Night Football. And another thing, which we haven't discussed, Jalen Waddle had a great year, over 100 catches as a rookie. First-round pick, number 6 overall, I believe. So that's a bright spot going into next year. Obviously, they traded for Tyreek Hill. have Devontae Parker on the roster. Preston Williams is on the roster. They signed Cedric Wilson. So they have a lot of talent around Tua going next year. They have Raheem Mostert, a running back, as well as Chase Edmonds. So they upgrade that. Offensive line still needs some improvement, but offensively they're there. And they ultimately did fire Brian Flores, which I didn't really like the decision, but they did. And they had Mike McDaniels, an offensive guy, who can do that heavy zone run game. But going back to the season, they played the Saints. Ian Book was the fourth-string quarterback, rookie, late-round pick. He threw a couple of interceptions, was not great. Then they played the Titans. They finally end their winning streak. Titans dominated the Dolphins. Tua couldn't get much going. 200 yards, or almost 40 passes. Didn't do much running the game. And the Titans just dominated this game without even Derrick Henry. Then they played New England. They win this game. They pick off, I think, Mac Jones, once. And they did fairly well defensively, but they did pretty good running the ball finally. Duke Johnson gave him something, which they did. Also, he did something in the Jets game. And it was enough to beat a team that went to the playoffs. They were trying to go, they stumbled a little bit later in the year, New England. They were trying to get some momentum. They just didn't. And then they played Buffalo and got destroyed. But either way, that's their season. As we talked, they got some much improvements on the offense. Not a lot different defensively, but they're going to try to keep that scheme and those players. With Agba re-signed and extended, and players like that. And going on, they do not have a first-round pick because the Eagles have it because of a trade with them, the 49ers, all last year. So defensively, what they could use, they got already safety and corners, possibly linebackers, maybe a defensive line, but they kind of have that. It's kind of settled and good. Gesicki's their tight end, they franchise tag. So it's mostly just look at the offensive line at this point. I don't think that obviously maybe quarterback will be a thing in the following year, but this year they're all on Tua, I believe. And they're going all in on Tua, and there's no excuses with this team. If they get some offensive line help, they got everything they need on offense. So that will be it being discussed in this video. In the next video coming up next week, we will discuss the Colts and their offseason. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching and have a great day.